Hi guys, welcome back to episode DB Cars, and today's episode I'll be showing you guys the GetGo 4th generation Suzuki Swift. So let's dive straight to this video right now. Alright then, so here is guys the 4th generation Suzuki Swift from GetGo itself. The exterior damage, if there's any, before I show you guys give you guys some brief info on this vehicle itself before I show you guys the trunk space itself. So this is the 4th generation Swift in general. So basically, Suzuki has given its 4th generation Swift a whole new face, a whole new look, which in my opinion, when I first see it in person, I'm not a big fan of the front, because it is totally different, you know. It's like so different. In my opinion, it's very different from the 2nd and 3rd generation, which I've already test driven. So if you guys want to check out that, I'll leave it at the end of this video, or I'll probably put it in I somewhere around here itself. But yeah, in my opinion, I'm not a big fan of the front end itself. So yeah, but basically this is how the front end of the car looks like. And also upon first maximize, there isn't any obvious windscreen damage or chip to it. Same goes for the front bumper below, so there's no obvious damage which I can spot as well itself. So that's a plus point. Alright, let's move on to the side. Unfortunately, the vehicles ran into some mud, I think, so it's a bit dirty, so I do apologize for that. But yeah, side profile of the vehicle, I think it's still the same as what I remember from the 2nd and 3rd generation, so there isn't really any obvious changes to it itself. So yeah, plus other than maybe getting some new rims for the vehicle, but other than that, in my opinion, there's no changes to the side profile from what I look. In my opinion, the side profile of the 4th generation still look very similar to the previous generation, as well as the 2nd, as well as the 1st generation of the vehicle itself. So yeah, let's move on to the rear right now. So the rear is also another thing that somewhat changes from the previous generation as well as the 2nd gen. So one thing that you see for the 4th generation is you get this new tail light, which is different from the 3rd generation itself. So yeah, I think this basically you get a whole new front tail light as well as main headlight for the vehicle itself. Then yeah, also your fuel door still, I think the fuel door location is still on the same side as what I remember from the previous generation, but the back somewhat, in my opinion, look the same, other than a new tail light for the vehicle itself. So yeah, like this is a hybrid. It's not like a full-on hybrid system where you get electric motor and the combustion engine working together at the same time. This is more of the hybrid motor somewhat helps it's like a much more advanced system of the stop-start itself. So if you remember, I mentioned, if you remember all my past video where like the Mazda 3 M hybrid, that is technically not a hybrid, it's something similar to this, where it's a much more advanced system of the stop-start system. Same goes for the previous generation Swift, also same thing itself. So yeah, other than that, rear, there's no obvious damage to it. Same goes for the side, other than it being very dirty itself. So yeah, driver's side, same thing, no obvious damage from what I can observe, other than it being extremely dirty itself. So yeah, other than that, I think that's basically it for the outside of the vehicle. Let me just show you guys this trunk space now before I show you guys the interior of the vehicle itself. So yeah, alright then, now let me just show you guys the trunk space for the 4th generation Swift itself. So basically, to access the trunk space is very simple. It's basically the same as the previous generation Swift, where you're able to locate the trunk release button just right down below the lever. Just press on that and you're able to access the trunk, which is just right here itself. So yeah, also one thing new for this vehicle is it comes with a reversing camera right here itself. I can't be sure whether the previous generation, 3rd generation Swift, does come with a reversing camera, but I think it does, just that I didn't really take note. But yeah, but this is how much trunk space you do get for the vehicle itself. I'll probably put on screen right now how much trunk space this vehicle comes with. Alternatively, if you guys want to remove this partial shelf, you're able to do so via just removing the clip on either side right here itself, and you have even more space to put stuff itself. But let's say if you want to have the most space in the vehicle itself, you could actually technically just fold down the rear seat just by pulling on this lever right here itself. Press on that, sit down, and the same goes for the other side itself. Once done, you just pull it back up and back up to its original position itself. So yeah, one thing, also another thing to note is, if you guys do remember the third generation Swift, the door handles were somewhere on the right beside the window itself. Technically, that is, I won't say that is a bad design, but I think maybe there's in my opinion, I think by putting the door handles on right here compared to right here is much better. Even though it's much more aerodynamic purposes, I think it is much better to put it right here, because it's much more easier to locate the door handle rather than putting right here itself. But oh well. But yeah, but going back on the topic of the trunk space itself, what do you get in this vehicle itself? Well, not really much. You get a hook right here to hook stuff, but other than that, you don't really get much for this vehicle itself. So yeah, you do get your towing line to tow the vehicle. I think that's your pump to repair the flat tire or something, and the hazard triangle thingy itself. So yeah, but other than that, close the trunk space, just very simple, pull on this and you're able to close the trunk itself. So yeah, that's basically it for the vehicle itself. So now let me just show you guys the rear of the vehicle itself. So stepping right into the rear of the Swift itself, the doors open quite wide, which is a very good thing. And one in the back, yeah, this is what you're being greeted with itself. Personally, in my opinion, I feel there is a slight increase. I don't know, something about it. I think it's not that claustrophobic compared to the previous generation, where mainly this part right here is just being blocked out because of the door handle itself. But with the fourth generation, the door handles are relocated back to its original spot, so there is much more window. It's not, you don't really feel claustrophobic. I think in my opinion, the rear of the fourth generation Swift is much better itself, because it's not that claustrophobic compared to the third generation, where I think maybe because of the location of where they put the door handle, which is right beside the window itself, it makes it look very claustrophobic itself. So hence maybe that's why I'm not really a big fan of it itself. So yeah, but right here, this is my driving position wise. So I got about a fist of legroom space wise, which is not too bad, provided if I were to sit full 90 degrees. So basically, if I were to sit something like this and not really slouch, then I'll have. If I were to slouch, then you can definitely see there's no space left itself. But if I were to sit upright, then there's definitely more space in this vehicle itself. Headroom wise is also the same situation, about a fist of headroom space, which is not too bad, I would say. Technically, if I'll go back to my slouching position, I'll have more headroom space, but legroom space is really not the best itself. So yeah, unfortunately, you don't really get any storage pocket right behind here if you want to put your stuff. But some spot, I think if you want to put your stuff, you could technically put it right here or right here itself, if provided you don't have any drinks itself. But speaking of the door bin for the rear doors, that is how it looks like. Let me see if I could grab my bottle of Coke and show you guys how does it look like. Alright, back to where I was talking about it. So this is my Coke bottle. As you guys can see, it fits perfectly right inside here. You do get some, let me see, I close the doors. How do I feel like? Well, this is hard. Technically, you do get some space in between here left after you put the drinks, but not really much space left itself. Probably if you want to, you could probably slide a tissue, maybe a bit of your rubbish inside here, and probably could throw it all together at the end of the trip. If not, probably put your stuff, your junk right here itself. So yeah, and that if not, oh yeah, you could put it right here as well itself. So yeah, if not, in general, I would say there isn't any storage area to put your storage space to put your stuff, unless you want to put it right here or right here itself. So yeah, what else do you get in the rear of the Swift itself? Well, you got a grab handle right here, grab hold on to. Same goes for the other side. Unfortunately, no hook to hook anything on, unlike some of the other Japanese cars that comes with it. I think one of them probably could be the Toyota Aqua Hybrid. Maybe, I think that comes with it, but you do get the one that I reviewed has the old-fashioned manual winding windows, which is a bit weird, but yeah, you do get some speakers right there itself. But in my opinion, it's alright, I would say, for the rear of the car itself. Oh yeah, sitting in the center, how does it feel like? Well, depending on how the front people adjust their seat, I got about same of less than it's really not fixed, but yeah, I think there's not much space in the rear of in the center. Really not much space. I got about 3 fingers right here and about 4 fingers right here. So yeah, and that not too bad. Headroom wise, also about face of headroom space wise for this vehicle itself. One thing I can definitely say, this vehicle does not suit carrying 3 people in the back, because you are definitely somewhat eating into the space on the left and right hand side already. So yeah, but short journeys wise, I think not issue. Long journeys wise, definitely will be issue, because this car is definitely not built to carry 3 full-grown size adult for long journey wise itself. So yeah, and that's basically it. I think I have to say for the rear itself. So yeah, let me just step out of the vehicle. Oh yeah, before I step right out, one thing is, if you're sitting right behind the front passenger, you can see that I'm not too sure what this is, but you definitely get to see this thing right below here itself. So yeah, definitely got to take note of it itself. So yeah, and let's just get out of the car right now, and I'll show you guys the front of the vehicle itself. So let's jump straight to that right now. Alrighty, so let's jump to the front of the Swift itself. So this is basically what you're greeted with itself. So yeah, if you remember the previous generation Swift itself, the infotainment was right down below here, and there were 2 air vents at the top itself, which looks a bit I think at that time I don't know what at that time the dashboard was trying to go after, but in my opinion, with the relocation of the infotainment right at the top, now it's much more easier to access rather than sometimes having to look down to do the infotainment thingy itself. So yeah, but let me just show you guys the storage space you get for this vehicle right now. So basically you get 1 storage space right here, as you guys can see, it has its owner manual right here, and I could put my bag inside here as well, which is quite a good thing itself. So yeah, moving along, you get another storage space right here, right behind the 2 cup holders. Get another storage space right here, but probably this is allocated for the handbrake, because once you put the handbrake down, whatever stuff you put here is being obstructed by this traditional handbrake itself. So yeah, that's one thing you got to take note for it itself. Right behind it, you just got your this is another option which I feel is a little bit weird for the Swift itself. We're in tropical climate Singapore, which is very, very hot 365 days a year. I'm not too sure why you want to add heated seats to the vehicle itself, which is very, very weird itself. But if it's there for an option, so if you want to use the heated seats, you can definitely use it. You can definitely notice when your bum are getting very hot, because this bottom part will definitely heat up, and you can definitely notice it itself. So yeah, moving along, yeah, traditional handbrake and your gear selector right here is, I want to say technically they are the same as the previous generation Swift, where you get this gear knob and you can go down to all the gears right here itself, which is right here. And you got, once you're in manual mode, you could technically shift up or shift down, but I think this is a new feature for the Swift, where the gearbox, technically when you're in manual mode, by right you have full control of all the gears that you want to be in. So let's say you want to go maximum 6,000 rpm, you should be able to do that for the previous generation Swift. But for this new Swift, it technically you're able to do so, but until a certain point. So basically what I meant is, basically let's say you're not shifting up and the vehicle is almost at red line, the car will shift up for you itself. Same for shifting down. So basically, I think it's trying to do that to protect the engine itself. Because if you are a person that always trying to go for maximum RPM technically in a way you're damaging the engine itself, so not really a good thing itself. So maybe Suzuki implementing these features to somewhat protect the engine, plus also allowing you to have fun itself. So yeah, that's what I noticed when I was trying this car in manual mode just now for a short period of time. I definitely know this is not a feature on the previous generation Swift, so this is something new itself. So yeah, I'll show you just the reversing camera later if you guys want. So yeah, and if anyone wondering how the reversing camera looks like for the Swift itself, this is basically how it looks like itself. Not too bad, you still are able to see more of the stuff behind, but as you know, usually reversing cameras are not really the best itself, so you gotta rely on your mirrors itself, as well as there's also parking sensors right here itself. So yeah, other than that, for the time being, now that's it for the gears itself. Next up, you got your climate control. So climate control, same thing, is a new thing which is new for this Swift. A whole new change. Gone are the days where the previous generation Swift has three individual dials where you have to twist it to adjust the relevant temperature that you want. And I think I noticed for the third generation Swift in two car sharing companies, after a while, I think there are some people that do not know how to use the climate control. They damage it after a while, so that's the downside. So I think this new climate control is much better itself and easier to use itself. Just need to down or up for the fan speed, or out or up for the climate control itself, which will be shown on either side itself. So yeah, and you got your respective climate control buttons right here itself, and the way you can notice whether it's being activated is with this light illuminated on top itself. So yeah, and you got your various control for the directional control for the fan speed right there itself. So yeah, and that's basically it for the climate control. Moving on top, just got your headlight button, which is being shifted down a little bit from the previous generation. So this new generation, it was right down here. The previous one is slightly higher up, which is, I think, I don't know what they are thinking at that time when they are doing the third generation and now the fourth generation. Maybe the fourth generation, in my opinion, they are trying to go for usability wise, where the driver don't really have to look down on the infotainment, and they don't have to look down on the infotainment, but at the same time also have easy access to the headlight button in event of emergency itself. So yeah, but I don't know what they're thinking about it, but yeah, there's some slight changes to the allocation of the headlight button from the third to the fourth itself. Same goes for infotainment itself. Infotainment I'll show you later when I turn on the vehicle itself, but let's move on to the steering wheel itself. So yeah, this is the steering wheel. To be honest, nothing has changed from the steering wheel. The steering wheel is still the same steering wheel that you see from the previous gen Swift itself. So basically most of the controls are the same, other than the cruise control where there are one or two new features. I can't remember the previous generation Swift has adaptive cruise control, but this does has it. Same goes for, basically this has adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and lane departure. And lane departure assist itself. So basically, if you're very out of lane, the steering wheel will vibrate to let you know that you're very out of lane. Same goes for the lane keeping assist. The lane keeping assist will only work in conjunction with cruise control itself. It won't work if the cruise control is not on itself. So yeah. So basically, to activate cruise control is just via this button. Then you can set your speed right here, and to cancel cruise control is either you step on the brake or you press cancel itself. This right here is to adjust the distance to the vehicle itself when the cruise control is being activated itself. And to activate lane keeping assist, just press on this itself. So basically, the press of this button itself, lane keeping assist will be activated, as well as the steering itself. So basically, this lane keeping assist is in conjunction with another feature, which is basically when the car is in line, the steering wheel, it will make some slight adjustment. Let's say it's going around a small bend, the steering wheel also will align the vehicle according to the lane itself. So that's basically that. This side right here, there's really nothing to talk about, other than if you want more info, you can just press all these buttons right here, just basically on infotainment, which I'll show you later on itself. So yeah, that's basically that. Okay, let's talk about the stocks right now. So basically, this is the main stock for the front and the rear wipers itself. Basically, all the way down for continuous wipers, or one time up for one side of the wipers. And you can adjust the frequency for the front wiper via this knob right here itself. So yeah. And you got a rear one right here which you can twist itself. So yeah, to watch the front, just need to pull back itself. So that's basically it itself. On the other side, you got your headlight control switch, as well as your indicators, as well as your high beams itself. So high beam, just need to pull back to activate high beams. Activate high beam, just need to push forward itself, and deactivate just the other way around. Headlight switch, just need to twist according to what you want, and the headlight just turn on accordingly, and you got a fog light button right here itself. So yeah, indicator just down or up itself. So very simple. Alright, moving along, you got your various buttons right here. So basically right here, you got your front collision avoidance system, your lane departure warning, your traction control button. So basically these three are, if you do not want it to be turned on, you can just turn off via this switch right here itself. Right beneath it is your parking assist, your parking sensor, as well as your stop start itself, as well as your the angle of the headlight itself, the dimming of headlights. Basically, if you do not want to do your parking sensor, can just turn off. Same for the stop start function, which this vehicle comes with when the vehicle at a red light and you have your brakes at basically when you are holding the brakes itself. So yeah. Moving along, right down beneath it, you got your fuel door as well as your engine compartment lever itself. So yeah, if you want to use either one, you can just pull on it itself and you're able to access it itself. Last but not least, just got start stop button. So that's basically turn on and turn off the car itself, which is really nothing special itself. But I'll show you guys the car in a few moments time once I show you guys the last few features of the vehicle itself. So yeah. Alright. Last but not least, you got your window control switch, as well as the door release, door unlock, and the locking system for the car doors itself, as well as this to prevent people from rolling down the windows, and you got your folding function right here itself. So yeah. Alright, right down below here you got more storage space if you want to put your stuff, and that's basically it itself. So yeah. Alright, if you're wondering how to adjust the steering wheel for the vehicle itself, basically there's this lever right down below here. Just pull on this lever itself. Sorry about that. And you're able to access and you're able to adjust the steering wheel itself. So yeah, to adjust the seat, the how forward, how back is right here itself. Just pull on this lever. The height of the seat is right here, and the angle of the seat is right here itself. So that's basically it for the seat itself. Last but not least, got a sun visor right here with a very nice mirror. Unfortunately, you don't really have any light on top. The only light you have is right here itself. So yeah, but usually in most cars, you're able to actually swivel the sun visor out to block the sun coming from, if let's say it's coming from this direction, you're able to block it itself. Only downside you block the front part of it. What I meant is basically is, let's say the sun is coming here, but the sun visor is blocking this part. It is totally useless itself. So yeah, not really the best itself. And the same for the passenger side, where you're able to fold down. It also has the very nice vanity mirror. Then you're also able to swivel it to the other side to block the sun coming from that direction. But same thing, if the sun is coming from here and the sun visor is there, it's totally useless itself. So yeah. Alright, last but not least, you got this center lighting, which can be turned on or turned off, or in the center when the doors are open itself. So yeah. I'll address one issue I have with the doors later on, but let me just turn on the car for you guys right now. So full on the brake and just press on this, and the car just start right up itself. So basically, once the vehicle start up, this is basically what you're greeted with itself. So let me just run through with you guys this before I show you guys that. Alright, so yeah, so basically I think this is the, if I'm not wrong, this should be the new instrument gauge for the 4th generation Swift. It is something different from the 3rd generation Swift itself. So yeah, basically every generation Swift I have reviewed so far, which I've already reviewed the 2nd and 3rd. The instrument, basically you did every new generation Swift, they will change something itself. So this is one new changes they did for the Swift, the 4th gen itself. To adjust the screen, the big main screen right at the top, you can do so by pressing this button right here itself, and it will just cycle through all the various functions itself. So this is, I think, okay, going back to the screen itself, most of the thing you're seeing right here itself is the same as the 3rd generation Swift, so there's really nothing new itself. So yeah, really nothing new other than maybe this function, I want to say. Let me just get it to you for you. This, I want to say this is new because I don't remember seeing it for the 3rd generation Swift itself. So yeah, but basically this is the cruise control. So if the cruise control is on, you'll see the speed you set it to be at. So if let's say it's 80, it will show 80 right there itself, and you're able to adjust the distance via this button, and you can see the distance you want it to be set to the vehicle in front itself. So yeah, to adjust the trip info right down at the bottom is this button right here. So you're able to see the odometer, which at the moment is at 3009 km. Then you got trip A and trip B function itself. Other than that, that's basically it for the screen itself. Alright, now let me just show you guys the infotainment itself. So this is the infotainment itself. All the buttons right down below, all the buttons right here are touchscreen. So if you want to touch on it, you can definitely touch on it. If not, you can just adjust according. Okay, you can basically adjust it via the buttons right here itself. So your info button, info button is for that itself, if let's say you do not want to adjust that. You got your volume control button right here, and your frequency tuner for the radio right there, and your voice command and pick up and call button right there itself. So yeah, okay, let me just show you guys this right now. So basically this is the new infotainment for the Swift itself. Basically you're able to see the various things about the car itself. I'm just cycling for you guys. So this is the average fuel consumption, and I think you got the date itself right there, the driving distance, the overall like fuel consumption, mileage history, and I think that's basically it. You're able to adjust according to what you want also, which is quite cool. Back, this is the home button itself. Then if you want infotainment, you just press on this, it will just cycle the infotainment itself. For the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, the first thing when you first set it up is you got for Android Auto, it's very simple, just need to link it up via Bluetooth, and that's basically it. For Apple CarPlay, it's slightly more complex itself. So basically, if you're setting up Apple CarPlay for the first time, you got to plug your USB Type-C or Lightning cable to the port itself, which is right here. So basically, there's this port right here, we say USB. Plug it to that, and go to plug your cable to your phone, and it should automatically link up. Then for it's still under Apple CarPlay, if anyone's wondering. For they'll ask you whether you want to use wireless or you want to keep the wire. If you choose wireless, whatever that is being shown right, because technically if it's wired already, you will see all the usual Apple CarPlay shit, which is right there itself. But if you choose wireless, you have to redo the whole process again. Just that this is, so basically if it's wireless, you go to setting, you go to smartphone linkage system, go to Apple CarPlay device list, and look for your phone, and just press on whatever. If your phone is right here, so just press on it, and it should automatically connect to it. And once that's done, you are automatically connected to Apple CarPlay for this vehicle itself. So yeah, and that, do I have anything else to show? Other than that, I think that's basically it itself for the infotainment. It's very simple and easy to use, other than the Apple CarPlay usage itself. If you choose other than that, it's basically just the Apple CarPlay thing itself. But I think that's basically it for this vehicle, I have to say itself. Alright then, let me just pinpoint one more thing which I want to mention for the Swift itself. So I think like the 3rd generation Swift, it comes with keyless entry itself. So this also does come with keyless entry itself, but unfortunately we don't really have the key itself, so we're not able to wirelessly lock the car. Let's say we have the key itself. So for this booking, it has this one small issue where I'm not able to get into the car every time, so I have to always ask for support itself. But weirdly, I'm able to lock the car, not able to unlock, which is a little bit weird. But main thing I want to talk about it is, let's say you're closing the door the normal way. One thing is, you definitely will notice this. It's the same for the passenger side itself. So definitely got to take note when you're closing the car door itself. So for this generation of Swift, you have to definitely close the door basically got to slam the door to close it itself. So yeah, that's the only thing. That's another small issue for the Swift itself.